Hi there. Welcome to, or welcome back to Tiff Reads Books, where I read books and then I talk to you about them. Today is my second big library haul of the year. I went to the library the Friday before my birthday to just pick up whatever my little heart desired and kind of build myself like a dream TBR. I have 3 weeks to get these books done. I've had them for like 4 days now, so partway through a couple. So I thought I would go over with you what I picked up from the library and just kind of tell you why I was excited about it and why I picked it up. So let's go ahead and do that. First one is the one I'm currently reading, which is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi. This has been on my TBR since last year when I first saw people talking about it. This book is so much what I needed. I'm going through it a little slowly. I have been reading it since I think the 2nd, and today is the 5th, but I've got that much left. I should be finishing it tonight. So this follows Amina Al-Sirafi, who is a retired pirate, and we are set around the Yemen area. So it's in a setting I'm entirely unfamiliar with, which I love. And we're following a woman who is past 40, which I love. And she gets approached by this older woman who's very wealthy and basically forces her to go and find her missing granddaughter. And reluctantly, Amina goes and she gathers her previous crew from her years of piracy on the Marawati, and she just kind of starts tracking down this girl, and we get adventures along the way. This story is like never slow. Something is always happening. Something is like always kicking off, and I'm just in love with the characters. We have Amina, who is she's very self-assured. She's very quick to act. She, for the most part, knows what she wants, and she's not afraid to go take it, and I absolutely love that. So I will be this is my first Shannon Chakraborty. I will definitely be reading more of her work because it's good. So keeping with that region, I have A Master of Jinn, which is by P. Djeli Clark. This is set in Cairo in alternate history 1912. And I did read the first 6 pages of this to try to decide which of these I was going to read first. But there was a line in this one that it got me. You can watch my vlog that's going to be out soon. So this one is following, in the beginning, we are following a man who is British. This is definitely in the time when the Brits were obsessed with robbing pyramids. And we have a group of men who are in this secret society type of thing. And they're like bringing in an artifact. And apparently some stuff goes wrong, and we end up with a mystery, like a murder mystery, where we follow a woman who's part of the police in Cairo, Agent Fatima. So we follow her, and I guess there's some sapphic elements to this. So yeah, I am excited for this one. This is definitely my next one. I can talk today. Okay, so those are 2 of the fantasy. Did I pick up one more fantasy? I did pick up one more fantasy. This one I honestly don't know much about. This is The Traitor Baru Cormorant, and my boyfriend was like, is that about a bird? Because he saw the cover, and I was like, no, it's about a person with a name like a bird. Like, he's like, a cormorant's a bird. I was like, yeah, this is the person's name. Anyway, I actually don't remember reading the synopsis for this. I know I read it when I added it to my TBR. So basically what I did was I went to the library, and I started in the A's, and I pulled up Storygraph and I sorted it by author, and I went through every shelf and I picked ones that were on my TBR that had high-ish ratings that I remember going, yes, I want to read that one. So this one was up on my TBR because I saw a Twitter post. I may have it screenshot, but I probably didn't. I saw a Twitter post of someone who listed all of their favorites in like images from 2023. And a lot of their favorites were my favorites. So the 4 that we didn't have in common, I added, and I have read one of them. It was The 6 Deaths of the Saint. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. So I looked at some of the synopses for the other ones, and so this is one that I added. I also added from them the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu, which everyone has talked about, and I added Salt Slow. I think it's Salt Slow. And I don't remember what it's by. It's a novella. I added The Northwoods, I think is the other one. And then there's one more There was one more. Which one was it? I'm trying to like remember the color of the cover because I did this with two people. Oh, it was The Deep by River Solomon, which I read and also loved. So hopefully this will come through for that one. This says it's got the sticker over some of the words. Tomorrow on the beach, Baru Cormorant will look, and then it's all covered. The Empire of Mask is coming, armed with coin and ink, doctrine and compass, soap and lies. They will conquer Baru's island, rewrite her culture, criminalize her customs, and dispose of one of her fathers. But Baru is patient. She'll swallow her hate, prove her talent, and join the masquerade. She will learn the secrets of the Empire. She'll be exactly what they need, and she'll claw her way up high enough up the rungs. She'll claw her way high enough up the rungs of power to set her people free. In a final test of her loyalty, the masquerade will send Baru to bring order to distant Artwin, a snake pit of rebels, informants, and seditious dukes. Artwin kills everyone who tries to rule it. To survive, Baru will need to untangle this land's intricate web of treachery and conceal her attraction to the dangerously fascinating Duchess Tainhu, so Sapphic. But Baru is a savant in games of power, as ruthless in her tactics as she is fixed on her goals. In the calculus of her schemes, all ledgers must be balanced, and the price of liberation is paid in full. This cover art is by Sam Weber. This is on the back, so I figured I'd tell you because I like to tell you the cover art by when it's not AI. So sorry, I think I am getting sick. I was feeling it last night. I had a horrible headache at work, and I think I am getting sick. So, quickly let me go back. This is Stephen Martinier. Oh, this is steampunk, by the way. And then this is Ivan, where's his name? Ivan Belikov. I thought I was going to be wrong if I said it. This is Ivan Belikov. This is the same cover artist as A Day of Fallen Night and Priory of the Orange Tree and a few others. His artwork is stunning. I love it. Let's jump to the sci-fi. So I picked 2 sci-fi and 2 horror. I did this sci-fi list with my Instagram mutuals. A bunch of people in the beginning of the year, like near the end of the year, were like, oh, give me 12 books and I'll read them. And I was like, I want to read more sci-fi, and a lot of my mutuals read sci-fi. So I was like, give me 12. Like, everyone give me some sci-fi. And I got a lot of really good recommendations. So I have more than 12. I think I have like 16. The first one that I read was last month. I read the first in the Murderbot Diaries, and then I read the second book too. Hooked, love them, will keep going on them. I'm listening to them on audio, which I think the audio is really good for those. I then was recommended this novella, and my library is promoting it too because they're doing this like Read Washington, and this apparently is a Pacific Northwest author, so Ness Brown. So this is The Scourge Between Stars. This is a sci-fi horror novella, and again, the sticker is over the synopsis. So we are following a woman, Jacqueline Albright, is responsible for keeping something back to Earth from their forebears' failed colony. So we're going from one planet to it back to Earth, and from what I understand, there is an intruder on their ship, and she has to protect everyone from it. So, short horror sci-fi sounds right up my alley. The cover artist is Chris McGrath, so this is actual art. And then we have Shadow Speaker by Nnedi Okorafor. This is also on my TBR for the month, so this is one I will definitely be getting to. I think this one is too. This is, I've read 4 other Nnedi Okorafor books, if you count the Binti trilogy as each book, but I read it as a bind-up. So I have read a decent amount. This is set in West Africa in 2074, and I read this already, but I've forgotten. I'll read it. Okay. It is an era of tainted technology and mysterious mysticism. A great change has happened all over the planet, and the laws of physics aren't what they used to be. Within all this, I'll introduce you to Eji Ugabe, a child of the worst type of politician. Back when she was 9 years old, she was there as her father met his end. Don't waste your tears on him. This girl's father would throw anyone under the bus to gain power. He was a cruel, cruel man, but even so, Eji, or Ejii, it's Ejii, did not rejoice at his departure from the world. Children are still learning that some people don't deserve their love. now 15 years old and manifesting the abilities given to her by the strange earth as she decides to go after the killer of her father. Is it for revenge or something else? You'll have to find out by reading this book. I am the Desert Magician, and this is a novel I've conjured for you, so I'm certainly not going to tell you here. So a little bit of a narrative style. Oh, I didn't realize how big this font was. This will be quick. This is 320 something pages, so not going to be a horrible, like, long book to read. I have read Who Fears Death, was my first Nnedi Okorafor, and I am still torn on it. Like, I really, really liked it, and I really, really didn't like it. I didn't like some of the characters' personalities. I think they didn't work for me, but the story itself is great. The world building is wonderful. I still love that chapter 19 was named, like, The Man in Black, and if you know, you know, and yeah. So, stop talking about Stephen King. Let's move on to the horror books I picked up. So, 2 of these horror books have been, one is by an author that I've liked other things from, and the other one is one that was recommended to me. I don't know much about either of them. Well, it wasn't recommended to me, it was just recommended a lot in the beginning of 2023 or end of 2022. Can't remember which. The cover art for this one, this is by Greg Ruth, and this is similar to a lot of her other new, like, covers, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same artist. Okay, let's start with this one. So this is Horseman. This is a retelling of Sleepy Hollow, I believe. Yes, this is a Sleepy Hollow retelling. This is Christina Henry, and I read Christina Henry back in 2018 when I was trying to start reading again, and I picked up her Alice retelling, and I was hooked. Just the way the story flowed, the characters, it was, like, dark and twisty and, like, awful in all the right ways, and I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of the first retellings that I had read, and so then as soon as I could, I picked up the second book, and I remember I read that while I was on field work in an area with no cell service, so I read it in, like, 2 days, because after we were done with field work for the day, we had nothing to do, and I think the person that I was working with didn't really like me, so we just kind of, like, hung out by the fire in this really cold house with mouse-infested walls, and I finished reading that book. Like, you could hear them scrabbling in the walls where you were sleeping. I was very uncomfortable because I was like, I'm gonna get so sick from this place. They kept waking me up in the middle of the night. We were, like, in this isolated area in North Scotland with, like, no cell service, hardly, like, a random Wi-Fi for every now and then, and, like, rats in the ceilings and the walls, and it was, like, and it was just 2 women alone. I was like, oh my god, neither of us could drive. We didn't have a car. I was like, Jesus. So anyway, the field work aside, I really liked, the sequel was called The Red Queen, and I really liked that one too, but not as much as I liked Alice. So I was wanting to pick up more Christina Henry. I did recommend that to a friend of mine, and she was like, oh my god, I need more. And she was like, oh, did you know she wrote, like, this? So she did do a Little Mermaid retelling, and she did do a Peter Pan retelling, which, if you've been around, I'm sure you've probably seen them at some point, but I hadn't. So this is her horror retelling of Sleepy Hollow, and I read Sleepy Hollow last year for the first time since high school. Like, I remember having to read it in maybe junior high, and I did not remember how, in my perspective, Ichabod is the villain of that story. Like, he is the villain. Katrina had no interest in him, and fucking Brom was just there to, like, be like, leave her the fuck alone. Like, Ichabod just wanted her to marry her for her money. Bro, why is everyone acting like he's the good guy when he was, like, a nice guy? Like, I was so mad. So I'm interested to see what this retelling does. Okay, so again, the stickers over the synopsis. Everyone, blank, 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 the horseman, but no, really, blank, blank, blank. Brom Bones, who was there when it was said the horseman chased the upstart Ichabod Crane out of town. Brom says that's just legend, the village gossips talking. More than 30 years after those storied events, the village is a quiet place. 14-year-old Ben loves to play Sleepy Hollow Boys. reenacting the events Brom once lived through. But then Ben and a friend stumble across the headless body of a child in the woods near the village, and the discovery makes Ben question everything about the adults in Sleepy Hollow have ever said. Could the horsemen be real after all, or does something even more sinister stalk the woods? So this sounds like something I'll like. I guess maybe not for you if you don't, if you have an issue with child stuff in horror. This is illustrated by Pep Montserrat. So I really like this cover. I think it's cool. All right, last one is one that I don't actually know a lot about, but I know that it was pretty popular a little while ago. I saw it everywhere, and I've been interested to branch out in my horror. So this is Pinata by Leopold Gout. Again, just blurbs, praise for the books of, not even this book, other books of. I'm going to start off with the cover illustration because this is, I love this. It looks very comic book type illustration to me. This is illustrated by Zhao Ruaz. So, yeah. All right, Pinata. It was supposed to be the perfect summer. Carmen Sanchez is back in Mexico, supervising the renovation of an ancient abbey. Her daughters, Iselle and Luna, too young to be left alone in New York, join her in what Carmen hopes is a chance for them to connect with their roots. Then an accident at the worksite unearths a stash of rare, centuries-old artifacts. The disaster cost Carmen her job, cutting the family trip short. But something malevolent and unexplainable follows them home to New York, stalking the Sanchez family and heralding a coming catastrophe. And it may already be too late to escape what's been awakened. So, Pinata. So, this is my library haul. Let's see if I can, okay, hold on. They're so slippery with the Mylar on them. Okay, here it is. This, get far enough back. Here we go. This is the library haul for this month. So I'm not sure how many this is going to get through because I do have other books too. So, but we'll see. I do have 3 weeks on all of them, and a lot of them don't have holds and can be expanded. So if you want to see the, oh, there we go. There's all the spines. I was able to turn it around. So kind of a variety of stack. I tried to, like, I could have kept going on fantasy from my TBR list, but once I got the 3, I was like, okay, I've got 3 that I've been really interested in, and I'm going to stop with fantasy because I could have just kept loading up on the thick fantasy. So then I was like, okay, like, let's try to keep going. And then the sci-fi is actually a lot harder to find, I think. I think it's because a lot of them are fairly popular and somewhat new-ish. So I did, as I was leaving, they had, what was the one that they had in the, I keep forgetting to look in the new release youth section, or YA, and they had The Spirit Bears Its Teeth, and I was like, oh, I've been wanting to read that one, so that's on my next list. If I get through this stack and through some other things this month, we'll see. I'm feeling a little bit more motivated than I was last month. Going to the library and just kind of like walking through and picking stuff that was on my TBR was really nice. So I think I want to do that like once a month. I probably won't pick a big stack like this every single month, but at least once a month I want to go to the library and just like meander and pick what I really want to do. I did that at the end of January and it was so good for like my like mental health reading. So I think I'm going to keep trying to do that. I do recommend it. If you are struggling with like motivation to read or feeling a little stuck, take a wander through your library because they'll always have like new stuff like sitting out. Like there's always old stuff to discover, and like it's just kind of nice to just be surrounded by books and know that I can leave without spending any money. So look at this dog. He's finally getting used to me talking like this where he can sleep through it. It only took like 6 months. He's dreaming. He's actually sound asleep. He's like twitching. Anyway, thanks for sitting on the couch with us, enjoying the Washington sunshine, and talking about some books that I picked up. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this, please give it a like. If you want to see more library hauls, subscribe because I'm going to keep doing them. I've got some other things that I want to do to find library ones, like in my head. I have a whole stack of tarot card decks, so I kind of want to include them a little bit. So yeah, I will be back soon with something else, and I'll see you soon.